Okay, I am knocking out 4 reviews in a row here after a long book-filled vacation. And number 4, the most heartfelt of them all, Real Life by Brandon Taylor. So this routinely came up on best books of 2020 lists, and not just because it deals with race, but because like, holy moly, Brandon Taylor is a good writer. So this book was actually written in 5 weeks. It was published February of 2020, so his book tour, everything got cut short by COVID, but also got a book out there at a time when we really needed books like this. Not only does it tell a very powerful story, but it's a very real story. It's a very concise story in the sense that it's really like takes place over the course of a weekend, like long weekend, I would say, drawn out like a little bit day before, day after. And so basically it tells the story of this guy who works in a lab, like a college lab, with a couple other people, but very isolated, kind of routine and not super happy with it, tense with his coworkers, some because of race, and then the weekend kind of unfolds and romantic things start to happen, some that maybe, I wouldn't say shouldn't have, but like, yeah, monkey wrenches come up, I will say, and he's in a kind of troubled way, and mostly keeps to himself, but occasionally like takes little jabs on the people he loves, and like I think recognizing that, like, I think a lot of us have been in that mindset where you're lashing out not because like you're angry at that person or like I want to disrupt what they're doing, but something's festering in you and it just comes out in that way. And so he's under a lot of strife. In the novel, he's dealing with the death of his dad and the complicated relationship that it was, and what that entails for a grieving process. Also dealing with his own sexuality and his kind of lifelong lack of intimacy that gets kind of flipped on its head. And that would be a lot to process for anyone. I was really glad to see, as I was kind of like looking into the book a little further, that it is going to be turned into a movie, and supposedly with Kid Cudi. So, big fan of movies, big fan of Kid Cudi. I like that. It's hard for me to imagine Kid Cudi being the main character because like Kid Cudi's a pretty fit man. Part of this was that he is heavyset, and so I mean, I guess they allude to it a couple times. It's not like a main thing in it. Like Long Division, that was a bigger thing. But it's a heavy book, I will say. Like, I was very engrossed in it, and I kind of liked how slow it rolled out. That like when you're really in those situations, like every detail is something. And like, so it reminded me a lot of Call Me By Your Name, and in a really, really good way. He balanced what I find is tricky in books that you're able to attain more in movies, of like the subtle things happening in a room, tension and like body language and stuff that's sometimes lost in novels, that makes it like you have to be a little ham-fisted with it and tell you exactly what was happening or why someone moved in a room. Like every detail, you can't like see it peripherally, like it has to be typed out. And so he does a very good way of rolling these things out and letting you understand undercurrents without being super direct about it. And it's just very well written, and like it deserves all the praise it's getting. So like yeah, shortlisted for Booker Prize, and just like tons of all the accolades. Honestly, like if you go through, find 5 different lists of like top books of 2020, that's probably on 3 of them, and should be on the other 2. Brandon Taylor is definitely one I hope to see more from. But yeah, I was just kind of blown away at that book, honestly. Like, I finished on a plane the other day, and like I knew the situation was coming to an end, and it wasn't going to be some like incredible conclusion, happily ever after thing. And as you kind of get nearer to the end, in my opinion, without giving much away, like, you know, it's not going to be that type of book. And it's not that I longed for a conclusion, it's that I longed for more time with this character. I want to see where he went. I like cared about his well-being, and I feel like the character development, both in the main character and the others, was just top-notch. Like I really feel like the shift in his mindset over those few days was very apparent, and it was like peeking into someone's journal in that way. But yeah, big recommend on that one. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in my like top 10 novels for the year, but still feels like we're kind of early in the year, so we'll see. But yeah, if you're looking to get into your feels a little bit, Real Life Breonna Taylor. It does deal with race, but I would say the bigger thing is maybe grief. A little bit of sexuality, but just like internalizing, and yeah, it's a heavy hitter for sure. So I love that book. Love anything Andre Aspen. Like I was saying, Call Me by Your Name. I will definitely be seeking out more emotional books like this. If you have any other recommendations along this line, drop a comment down low. If you watch this video and say, hey, I'm glad this exists on the internet, hit that subscribe button, hit a like, you know, show some love. Like I've said in the other videos, I'm stoked to be doing this YouTube channel, and I appreciate every single one of you subscribers, so have a good day.